I'm on a journey to the most photographable places on the planet.
Elvis, any ideas on best places to shoot the skyline?
To bring viewers on a virtual photo walk. To find the best Instagrammable photo spots. And to show how to get great photos like this on your phone. I'm Jefferson Graham and...
You're watching Photowalks in Las Vegas. Woo!
Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, the wildest, craziest, and most colorful city in the United States, if not the world. As always, I'm going to show you how, when, and where to get great photos of Las Vegas and elsewhere with your phone. We're going to go on a virtual photo walk of the Las Vegas Strip. We're going to meet some interesting people and go out into the desert right outside the city limits of Las Vegas and see some of the beautiful desert scenery. So if you're ready, clean your lens, check your battery, check your storage, and let's go on a photo walk.
The basics of visiting Las Vegas haven't changed much since the 1940s and 50s. The big resorts still dominate the Strip from one end to the other. The Strip itself is a string of big casinos that all offer much of the same gambling and over-the-top sensory overload to get you in the door. The Strip begins on the south end at Mandalay Bay and extends all the way to basically Sahara Boulevard by the swanky new Fontainebleau. The best concentration of hotels to walk, gawk, and snap pics at is centered on the corner of Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. On one side, you've got the Bellagio, the renamed Bally's, now called the Horseshoe, and Paris. And on the other side, you're looking at Caesar's Palace, the Flamingo, which was the first hotel built on the Strip back in the 1940s, and the Linq, home to one of the best views of the Strip from its high roller Ferris wheel. More on that in a minute. Keep walking and you will pass the old Mirage, now under a remodel as a new Hard Rock Hotel, the Italian-themed Venetian and Palazzo, and up the street is Circus for the kids. The most photographable hotels in Vegas by my book are the Excalibur, Luxor, Paris, Flamingo, Linq, which we will get to in a moment, Caesar's Palace, and the Venetian.
One of the hottest tickets in town is not a hotel, but the new Sphere, a high-tech entertainment complex with movies shown on a giant screen. As big as nearly 18,000 feet, and get this, in the venue there were over 160,000 speakers. Now you can't miss the Sphere on the Strip with its ever-changing art show on the outside. Inside, bands like U2, the Eagles, and Dead & Company have performed there, and if you can't catch the show, well, the Sphere offers tours and a movie at a very, very high ticket price, nearly $100. Once inside, you can see robots and cool colors, and while the movie itself is fantastic, you might think twice about whether the splurge is actually worth it. What's good about the Strip? From a photographic.
It's good for people watching, all walks of life. Everybody's welcome, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. Go have some fun. The casinos are open arms. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't gamble. I don't like the parking and the congestion.
On the Strip, what would be the most photogenic of the hotels? If you're going to go take 2 or 3 shots of the Las Vegas Strip.
Bellagio around the fountain seems to be the no-brainer. Everybody does that, you know, and you're not going to get the whole Strip from there, but that is the center.
And speaking of the fountain show,
so we're here at the Bellagio Water Fountain Show, one of the most popular events in town, and it's free. We love that. I think this is a good spot. It's wide open. I think we'll see the water going up right with the hotel behind, with the Bellagio behind. But the good news is, if it's not a good place to be, there's always another show in 30 minutes, so we'll find out.
the front view on Las Vegas Boulevard South is where most people do congregate. I mean, it does have that great view and the backdrop of the Bellagio behind the fountains. Pretty cool, huh?
Okay, so that was fun. That was a great water show, but you know, the basic rule of photography is try all sides. We started here looking at the Bellagio Hotel, right? Now we've come to the other side of the fountain and we're gonna check it out looking at the Paris Hotel and that side of the Strip. One may be better, one may be not, but again, it's all free, so why not?
What a difference another angle can make. From here, you have this great view of the Strip and all those eye-popping hotels. like the replica of the Eiffel Tower from Paris, complete with its own flickering lights, along with the flamingo, the Linq Ferris wheel, and so much more. Photo tip: I'm voting for this spot. How about you? Beyond the water fountain show, there are other great spots to photograph the Strip, and we're going to check them out together. The usual suspects for getting the shot are the places that charge admission: the Stratosphere Hotel, the Paris's recreated Eiffel Tower, and the Linq High Roller Ferris wheel. The Paris Eiffel Tower is the best spot to see the Bellagio water fountain show from across the street above, but unfortunately, it's through a cage. It's very hard to shoot from up here, especially with a smartphone, but if you have a camera and you can slip your lens through it and get something decent, great, but overall, I say good luck. The Linq Ferris wheel is a unique ride, but unfortunately, you're shooting through a dirty window. My tip, once again, is to put your camera right up to the glass. This will help minimize some of the distractions. One thing I learned about the Linq High Roller from taking it twice: your best views are after sunset. During the day, the reflections can get in the way, but after the sun goes down, without that glaring sun in your face, well, the reflections practically disappear and you get a better view as well. You won't have reflection issues of the Stratosphere. It has a deck from which you can snap away looking south of the Strip without anything in front of you. On timing, most people want to take the shots at night because the Strip is just cooler that way. I mean, take a look at my back-to-back shots of the Strat, shot in the daytime and shot at nighttime.
Okay, so we went to the top at some of those attractions. We shot through cages, dirty windows. Right behind me is my favorite spot for looking down at the Strip. Hands down, it's the Waldorf-Astoria. They have a bar up here. They don't charge admission. They ask you that you get a drink and maybe a snack or something. And they have a beautiful view of the Strip. Check it out.
Finally, the crosswalks on the Strip can be tricky, but you can pull them off.
They're on most street corners. There's good news and there's bad news up there. Let me show you both.
Most have giant barriers that will block your shot, but there's usually 2 clear openings per crosswalk. That's how I got my shot of the Strip right here, and the fabulous flamingo neon sign. Now remember my tip at the Linq Ferris wheel about dirty windows? Well, here we go again.
Because of the reflections, what I like to do to get around them, and you've probably heard me say this before, but just put your lens right there. So here's before, and then you stick it right on the glass and you see the reflections disappear. So I'm not going to talk to you about photographing gambling and the tables and inside the amazing casinos. That's a whole other photo walk. I have 4 words for you. Las Vegas parking garages. It's where you'll get some of your best views of the Strip. Let me prove it to you.
The first thing you need to know: parking garage roofs can provide some of the best views in town. The second thing you need to know: it's now practically impossible to get free parking in Vegas anymore. Expect to spend at least $20. However, you can't beat the view. So let's go up the Strip and take a look at some of the best roofs. We'll begin with the Aria, a complex that also includes the Cosmopolitan and Waldorf-Astoria hotels. You can't get a classic view with the Strip here, but you can pick up an interesting shot of the MGM and shops, as well as the backside of the New York Hotel and all those massive buildings that are part of the complex here. Across the street we have the Paris, which is interesting. You don't see the Strip at all, but instead you get a fascinating look at the back of the French-themed hotel, where it's clear they put most of their money into the front with the replica of the Eiffel Tower and the hot air balloon. However, this is a cool structure that looks not like a French building, but one you might expect to see in New York, perhaps. Go figure. Now, the Bellagio, directly across the street from the Paris, is one of the great classic Strip views from up on the top of the garage. It's my favorite parking garage roof in Las Vegas. You get the Eiffel Tower of Paris, the way you want to see it, plus the hot air balloon, the Ferris wheel from the Linq, and of course, the pink of the flamingo. Next door is Caesar's Palace, and the garage is behind the hotel, and you can't really see much beyond a look at one of the newer Caesar's high-rises. My favorite parking garage in Las Vegas belonged to the old Mirage Hotel, which went under a major remodel and is expected to reopen as the Hard Rock Casino in 2027. Hopefully, there'll be a great parking lot up there as well. Meanwhile, did you notice something missing when we looked out at the Strip from up here? What happened to the neon? Only the Flamingo and Circa Circus still have the classic neon on the Strip. However, we know where to go to find it.
When we come back from the break, it's neon, baby, in downtown Las Vegas, where neon is shining brighter than ever.
Before the break, we explored the Las Vegas Strip and learned how to find some of the best photos of Vegas from the top of parking garage roofs. Now we're headed to downtown Las Vegas, where you will find your best views of classic neon, the likes of which used to shine brightly on the Strip, but it's kind of hard to find there anymore. Not so downtown. The heyday of Las Vegas neon harkens back to the 1940s and 50s and the birth of the new mega casinos with bigger and brighter signs to attract the customers. But now on the Strip, all that pretty much remains of the glory days are the Flamingo and the Circus Circus masterpieces, while newer resorts like the Cosmopolitan, Linq, and rebranded Horseshoe offer the cheaper, more versatile LED signs. That way they can constantly change the messaging. However, good news, neon is still alive and well in Las Vegas, and then some in the old nostalgic downtown area, where you can still see classic signs like the Four Queens and California Casino, and newer replicas which are on the side streets. The signs aren't really advertising anything, there are no buildings attached to them, but they do invoke the mood of the area. Your downtown photo walk should begin at the bottom of Fremont Street at the Plaza Hotel, then cut over to Ogden to see the old California Hotel and the new Circa neon, and then head back over to Fremont for what is called the Fremont Experience. It's a free outdoor plaza with all the bells and whistles, including light shows, zip lines, and masses of people having a ball. Now, if you have the energy, continue north on Fremont up to 9th Street and the great old Atomic Liquor sign advertising what was the first bar in Las Vegas circa 1952. But let's head back down to the Fremont Street Experience area for a minute. This is your best place for the classic neon shot as you're surrounded by it, not just within the experience, but on the side streets as well. I love the old neon signs of Binion's in the California, as well as some of the smaller places like the Golden Gate. The Fremont Street view, of course, is what many people once associated with glittery Las Vegas when it had many more casinos, as well as the world-famous Vegas Vic, the neon cowboy who has been waving his arms since 1951. Right behind him is the Plaza Hotel, once known as the Union Plaza, where train passengers used to arrive from locations near and far. The train station, sadly, is no longer. The Circa is one of the newer resorts in downtown and reminds us of the good old days with a giant neon sign right off Fremont Street. The Circa is so respectful of its past that when it built, it looked like Vegas Vic's friend, Vegas Vicky, who's been strutting her cowgirl boots since 1980. Well, she might have to go to make room for the property. But instead of ditching it, the owners instead just parked it inside where it dominates the casino. Good for you, Circa. Now, earlier we showed you great overhead views of Las Vegas from the Strip. The Circa happens to also have a terrific one and an alternative view, mostly of the downtown area, and the good news is you don't have to pay anything to see it. Just take the elevator up to the 60th floor and enter the Legacy Club, where you can have drinks and look out the window or step outside. Now, granted, the windows are large out here and they could have nasty reflections in them. If so, Pull out a selfie stick like I did, just put the camera on a timer and raise the camera high to get the shot without distractions. Beyond the neon, you'll also want to check out what the Circa calls the best pool in history, a giant complex with 6 swimming pools flanked by a 143-foot TV screen, which beams sports during your entire swim time. The cost of admission is between $20 to $40. Now, onto an even greater collection of neon just up the street at the Neon Museum. If you miss the old Stardust and the Riviera signs from the Strip, as well as many others, you can still see them at the Neon Museum, where they are lit up and available for viewing in the Boneyard. The museum is best seen at nighttime to catch the signs all lit up. But photography alert! The Neon Museum has a no camera rule and no selfie stick or tripod rule, but cell phone cameras are allowed. You are looking at footage shot on a late model iPhone Pro. Another photo tip: I found it so painful to watch people take selfies in front of the signs of the museum because they ended up looking like silhouettes because they were backlit. If you'd like to get great portraits around neon, please use it to your advantage and have the colors light you by facing the neon. See what a difference that makes? Another photo tip is timing, because that's really everything with neon. Plan your most important neon shot for just after sunset, and you'll have a slightly darker sky with the neon jumping out from it. 30 minutes later, the sky will be pitch black and you will miss the added color. If you don't believe me, look at this before and after shot of Atomic Liquor. Finally, you all have video on your phone, so why not use it? Neon is constantly changing and video can show that off so well. I also like trying slow motion shots with the flickering lights, and that was a fun, different way of looking at it. Now finally, let's head back to the Strip one more time and appreciate the artistry of this amazing Circus Circus sign from the 1960s. What a wonderful example of art. When we come back from the break, it's photo tip time as I show you how to get pro-level photos with your phone. It's time for our photo tip segment where I show you how to get great pro-level vacation photos on your phone. Now, in Las Vegas, I hate to be a broken record. If you've watched Photowalks a lot, you've heard me say this, but your best shots will all center around timing. You are visiting a city where the neon and the LED lights are more abundant than arguably anywhere else, and you want to capture them. Let's face it, a neon sign turned off is rather blah. So how are you going to get great shots of the casinos and the mega wattage of the lights? By being in the right place at the right time. Your optimum is right after sunset. You're not going to capture a great sunset of the Strip. Because of the size of the buildings, that's unlikely to happen. But once the sun does fall, you will get a sky that is slightly darker, so expect a little dark blue behind the neon, which gets turned on in the afternoon instead of a deep, deep black sky. Your alternative, of course, is to wake up really early before the sun comes up and get your shots that way, but fair warning, many of the hotels turn the signs off in the middle of the night. I found this the hard way. As we have covered, the best way to get shots of the entire Strip is by getting creative. You can drive to the top of the parking garages for a glimpse from the roof. You can also walk right up there without having to pay $20 to park. Another option, on the busiest streets of the Strip, Las Vegas will not allow pedestrians to cross the street. Instead, they send them climbing up to the bridges that overlook the Strip. This is another great spot for photos of the casinos and those amazing signs. Elsewhere, just be creative and don't be afraid to move around a lot to get your best shot. In our first segment, I showed you how I went to 2 different spots to get photos of the famous Bellagio water fountain show both on Las Vegas Boulevard South, facing the hotel, and then back by the hotel entrance, which looked out at the Strip and made for an awesome shot. I preferred number 2. Now, I also climbed to the top of the parking garage for a third angle. I wouldn't say the water show was better this way, but it certainly was a hell of a view of the Strip. Rules. If you're into flying a drone and you hope to do it in Las Vegas, you're kind of out of luck. The Strip is so close to the airport that drone use is pretty much forbidden anywhere near the hotels. If you do see drone footage, the drone operator has worked out something with the airport. Inside the casinos, they used to have strict no photography rules that went back to the 1960s. Casino managers didn't want to have anything that could distract a gambler. But in the smartphone era, casinos are more lax about photography. But if you were to try and do a selfie at a blackjack table with the dealer behind you, odds are that would be nixed. Now back to the lights. If it's pure neon that you want, go downtown and buy a ticket to the Neon Museum. You'll be surrounded by some of the best neon ever. Just don't try to get a selfie with the sign behind you unless you've brought lighting to illuminate your face. The best collection of neon that you're going to come across by far, even more than the museum, is downtown on Fremont Street at the Fremont Street Experience, a covered mall that happens to be anchored by 2 of the old line casinos with amazing signs, Binion's and the Four Queens. Now, one last thing. One of the most popular spots to get selfies in town is at the Welcome to Las Vegas sign just down the street from Mandalay Bay. Another warning, huge crowds gather here, and you could be online for quite some time awaiting your turn. I came in the early morning. I had the place to myself. I also love doing the shot with the blinking lights behind me, but as I discovered, the city turns them off right after sunrise, so plan accordingly.
Alrighty, that's a wrap for our Las Vegas photo walk. For a complete itinerary of the places we went to on today's show, check out our website, PhotowalksTV.com. Meanwhile, I'm Jefferson Graham, and I'll see you on the next photo walk.